Welcome to Coin Explorer. Today we're talking about something that almost every American has held in their hands, the 1981 U.S. 1-cent coin, more famously known as the Lincoln Memorial Penny. It's small, it's coppery. It's so common that you might walk past it on the street without a second glance. But in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins can hold extraordinary stories. Now, before you get too excited, no. Not every single 1981 penny is going to make you rich, but some special varieties, in the right condition, have been known to sell for thousands of dollars at auction. And that's not because of magic. It's because of history, rarity, and the tiniest imperfections that can turn a simple cent into a prized collector's item. So, before you toss your loose change into a jar or let those old pennies collect dust in a drawer, join me as we dive deep into the origins, design, secrets, and collector appeal of the 1981 1-cent coin. Let's roll back the clock to 1981. The United States was stepping into a new decade. Ronald Reagan had just become president, promising a new era of economic reform and national pride. The Cold War was still a reality. MTV was about to launch, and inflation was a major concern, meaning that even the humble penny was starting to cost more to make than it was worth. By this point, the Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for over 70 years. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it had gone through only one major reverse design change, in 1959, when the wheat ears were replaced with the Lincoln Memorial. This memorial design, created by Frank Gasparro, would remain in use for 50 years, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. 1981 was also historically significant for one major reason. It marked the very last full year the U.S. Mint produced pennies with 95% copper composition before switching to a predominantly zinc core in mid-1982. That makes the 1981 penny a kind of last chapter in the story of the traditional copper cent. On the front, or obverse, we have Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design so respected that it's been used for over a century. You'll notice Lincoln's bust facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God, we trust" across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1981, to the right. Depending on where it was minted, you might also see a small mint mark below the date. No mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco, proof coins. The artistry in Lincoln's face is something most people overlook. Every line of his hair, the creases in his jacket, and even the subtle shadows around his cheekbones were crafted with meticulous care. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted by the Lincoln Memorial, rendered in such fine detail that if you look closely under magnification, you can actually see the tiny seated statue of Lincoln between the columns, just like in the real memorial in Washington, D.C. Above the memorial are the words, United States of America, with the national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, just below it. At the bottom, the denomination is boldly stated, 1 cent. Frank Gasparro, the designer, wanted the memorial to be instantly recognizable, but also detailed enough to impress even on such a tiny surface. Here's where things get interesting. The 1981 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters. That's right. These pennies are almost entirely copper, unlike modern ones, which are mostly zinc with just a thin copper coating. In fact, the intrinsic metal value of a 1981 penny today is worth more than 1 cent, though melting them down is illegal in the U.S. This copper composition is one of the reasons some collectors love the 1981 issue. It's the last true copper penny before the metal change in 1982. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at 3 facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Together, they struck billions of coins. But here's the twist. While the regular circulation coins are common, certain proof coins and varieties can be worth serious collector money. For example, 1981, S Type 1, proof. The S mint mark is filled and less defined. 1981, S Type 2 proof. The S mint mark is clearer and more well-defined. This type is rarer and sought after. Collectors prize these varieties, especially in perfect, untouched condition. Now, let's talk about where the real excitement comes in. Error coins. In 1981, like any other year, minting wasn't perfect. Machines misaligned. Dies wore down. Planchets, the blank metal discs, sometimes slipped or doubled during striking. And for collectors, these flaws can turn a penny into a treasure. Some error types from 1981 include double-die obverse, where the date or lettering appears doubled. Off-center strikes. Part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't centered during striking. Clipped planchets, where a small curved piece of the coin's edge is missing. Broad strikes, coins that are struck without the restraining collar, causing them to spread out wider than normal. These errors can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and condition. Let me tell you about one case that sent ripples through the coin community. In 2018, a coin collector in California was going through a jar of old change inherited from a relative. Among the coins was a 1981 Lincoln Memorial penny. At first glance, it looked perfectly ordinary, but under magnification, the date showed clear doubling, and the Liberty inscription was slightly shifted. He sent it to a professional grading service. The verdict? A rare double-die obverse in near-perfect mint state condition. When it hit the auction block, it sold for several $1,000s to an enthusiastic bidder who specialized in Lincoln cents. Stories like this fuel the thrill of coin hunting, because that jar of coins in your home might hold more than you think. If you've got 1,981 pennies lying around, here's how to check them. 1. Look for mint marks. Pay attention to D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mint mark for Philadelphia. Proof coins with the S mint mark are especially interesting. 2. Check for errors. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to look closely at the date, lettering, and design for any doubling, misalignment, or unusual features. 3. Examine the condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P-1, to mint state, MS-70. The better the condition, the more value it can have. 4. Consider getting it graded. Professional grading by PCGS or NGC can authenticate and preserve your coin's value. Here's the part you've been waiting for. Value. Most 1981 pennies in circulated condition are still worth just 1 cent. But rare varieties, pristine, uncirculated coins, or major mint errors have been known to sell for thousands of dollars. This doesn't mean every penny in your change jar is a jackpot. It means that with careful searching, attention to detail, and maybe a little luck, you might uncover one that is. So why is this coin so beloved among collectors? It's a combination of factors. It's the last full year of the classic 95% copper composition. It has intriguing proof varieties. It's part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial series. And it offers the potential for valuable mint errors. Add in the historical backdrop of early 1980s America, and you've got a coin that's not just a piece of metal, but a piece of living history. The 1981 Lincoln Memorial penny is a reminder that value isn't always about size or face value. Sometimes it's about story, history, and the connection a simple object can make between the past and present. Every coin in your hand has traveled through pockets, purses, cash registers, and decades of change. Some have crossed the country, some have been saved, lost, and found again. So, the next time you see a penny, don't just see 1 cent. See the craftsmanship, the history, the possibility. And if it happens to be from 1981, take a closer look. You never know what you might find. Thanks for joining me on this journey, coin explorers. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of the 1981 penny, hit that like button, subscribe for more numismatic adventures, and share this video with fellow treasure hunters. And remember, every coin has a story. Yours might just be worth telling.